Hi, I want to share with you one of the smart tools that I have been using for quite a few years, since about 2011, so going on 9 years now. And I have found it to be extremely helpful and a big motivator. And so I know there are a lot of them out there in the market, but the one that I settled on and have been enjoying and have found suits my purposes perfectly is the Fitbit brand. And so I started in 2011. I actually had a friend who had the Fitbit One, and she wasn't using it. And I had read something about it in a magazine or something. I thought, oh, that would be type A personality. That would be right up my alley. It's made for, you can make friends online and kind of have little challenges. If nothing else, it had some screen motivators that I knew that I would shoot for. And I also tend to be one that I like to beat myself at things to or set goals and reach those. And so I utilized the Fitbit One for a couple of years and I loved it. And so I knew that I wanted to continue with Fitbit. And so in March of 2013, they were coming out with the Alta. And so I was one of the first people that I put a pre-order in, and I got myself a Fitbit Alta back in 2013. Love, 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 love the Alta. I actually utilized that until 2015 when they came out with the Alta HR, which is got the heart rate capability too. And so I switched over to the Alta HR in 2015, and I just really, really loved this as a tracker, as a watch. Other features I'll talk about in a little bit. I had a ton of, I think I had more than 50 bands in every different color. I had sparkly ones, I had just fun ones, and so I really, really loved this one. Uh, what prompted me to change to something has to do with my age and my grandma eyes. I can't see very well anymore. And this had, I liked it because it was small, it was delicate, it was discreet, and but it got to where I couldn't see it anymore. Even my arm wasn't long enough for me to be able to read it, and so I then did a little bit of research and I opted for the one that I wear now, which is the Fitbit Versa, which has a much bigger screen and brighter so that my granny eyes can read it. So I'm going to go through the app and show you once you get if you utilize the tracker, it connects to an app on a smart device or on my computer. I actually have the website I can go to. And I want to show you the features that the app has that are very user friendly. Remember, I'm coming at this from a very technologically challenged position, so any kind of electronic or smart device that I am wild about usually is something that is very simple. There's not a lot to it. They might have more features than what I use, but I am able to figure out how to use the ones that I need, and it's been very instrumental in my health and fitness goals and life for the last 9 years. So in the Fitbit app, I actually have all of my health related apps in a little folder here in my iPhone. So I'm going to open up the Fitbit app here. And so here is the home screen. Up on the left hand corner is the profile, and I'll show you what's behind that in a little bit. In the right hand corner are your notifications. And so if you come in here and you want to take a look at your notifications, you can get messages. This is my mom calls when we're doing our competitions the pig pile, and she doesn't like it when she's winning. And then also Fitbit sends me things like, I love it when they call me an overachiever. Type A personalities just love that. So it's just, and I have those notifications come across my phone in a banner too. And I don't know, it just makes me smile someday. Some days. Okay, there's an edit button here. And so this is, you can edit this screen. If you don't like what's on here, if you don't want to see any these things anymore, then you can take them off of there. I'm leaving all mine on there because I want to show you what they do. So I'm just going to hit done. So we're going to leave them all on there. So this first circle here, the big one, has your daily steps, your progress toward your daily steps. So at this point in the day, I have 5780, and because my goal is 10,000, I'm just a little over halfway there. I've done the equivalent of one floor. That's interesting because I've been up and down the stairs to the basement a few times, but I've gone 2.4 miles. I burned 1489 calories, and I've been active for 70 minutes. I'm getting credit for exercise 2 out of 5 days this week. If I do something like the spin workout or a CrossFit workout, I can go in here into this plus, and I can actually click on the log button, which is up here at the top, and I can add one of those workouts in. Otherwise, it does track my walking. It gives me how many hours I slept, and says I slept good last night, and what my sleep score is. If you want to look at the details in here, you can go in here, and then you can kind of see what your trend is. It gives you some information, and you can kind of even see in each of these lines, the blue is sleeping and the red is awake. And then you can kind of, track and trend your sleep if you want to use it for that. Tells you what your heart rate is if you have one of the heart rate ones. Now the one isn't a heart rate one, but the Alta HR, the Fitbit Versa, and I think there's one even that is more integrated for fitness and training and stuff beyond the Fitbit Versa. The female health and tracking and trends, that is for women that are getting periods and or possibly wanting to track their cycle for fertility. I am all done with menopause, so there is no reason for me to use that at all. There isn't anything in there that I'm utilizing anymore. I've only been active 3 out of 11 hours today. It looks like so far it's only been 4 hours in. So, but my watch actually buzzes at me and says, get up and move. You've got 80 steps left this hour or whatever, because I have this set that I want to be getting at least 250 steps per hour. It's tracking my weight loss, and this is, coming straight from the ARIA, the scale. I'm not sure why it's picking up from April 14th, but if it was picking up from April 4th, it would be down a little bit, but there's my downward trend, and then all of my weights are held in here. We can go all the way back to on April 4th, or the 206 pounds. That's when I started all this. To come back out of this, you just up on the left hand corner in the top, you hit the back button and it takes you right back to your dashboard. And then you can use this to log water. I don't utilize it for that, but if you wanted to track the water that you're drinking, you can be putting that in here. And then if you wanted to log your food in here, you could do that. And this app also has, if you look in the top right hand corner, it does have the barcode scanner, so that helps making logging food much easier. But I have myself set up in the MyFitnessPal, and I really love that app, so I use that for those things. So if I wanted to edit this screen, I could come in and get rid of, I'm not using the female health stuff, and I'm not really using the logging water or the food.
Now, if I wanted to come back and add those things later for some reason, I could, but now I don't have to have those things on my dashboard. Then the other thing that I utilize in here that I have found fun is the community. This is all of my friends that have Fitbits, and so we've all friended each other, and it just kind of shows who's you know doing well. And sometimes it's a motivator for me, especially if it's somebody like my dad or my daughter that I want to beat. I might run and get a few extra steps in for that. So under groups, my husband has used this because his work, they do a lot of little challenges, and he does things with people from work. And then there's a feed here that you can see kind of information and news of things that are going on with your friends. And so that's just kind of a rundown of the Fitbit app. This is another one for us technologically challenged people that has been useful for me and somewhat easy. Even when I take updates, I find that the screens don't change so much that I really can't navigate them. Now, there are a lot of settings available in here. So if you come back up to the top left corner, I'm going to click on my picture there because that's going to take me into my account. And so in the Regina View Your Profile, there's personal. So I'm going to click into the personal, and that just shows information about me. Badges and trophies. So there's certain goals that Fitbit has preset, and so they'll send you little things like, you've done 2,000 lifetime floors, so you earn a hot air balloon. And I don't know, it's been kind of fun. I don't pay that much attention to it. Like I said, my husband uses the groups, so he's in there with some people from work, and I haven't used the guided programs. And then there's all my friends. Um, there is an option on here for Fitbit Premium. The app is completely free, and everything that I've shown you I haven't paid anything for. Fitbit Premium, I believe that there is a monthly maintenance fee for that, but there is a ton of stuff behind that, and so it's just not something that I felt that I would utilize, so I haven't done that. My Versa is fully charged, so I've got my battery for my Versa showing. And if I click on this right here, I can go in and see this is where I can change my clock face to be something else. Now I like it with my Bitmoji on it, but I could go in and change it. I could pick a different display. There's all sorts of different ones in here, but I like the one that I have. You can add apps to it. You can add media to it. You can even use this as a way to pay for things. There's the how to use it in here, so, and then some accessories, and then just some other information on here. Oh, one of the things that I wanted to show you is down here under goals, you can change your your steps. So, like back when I ran a lot, I got to 10,000 steps without hardly even trying. And so, to up my challenge, I actually was able to change this to 15,000 steps because I wanted my goal to be higher to make me shoot for more. And so, these are editable features. And I did like that. So if you wanted to change any of those, you can change those. There's compatible apps like Fitbit and my Fitness Pal actually talk to each other. So when my back when I ran a lot, Fitbit picked up on the fact that I was running, and it would send that information to my Fitness Pal as my exercise. And so there's just all sorts of settings and customization that you can do here. I did notice when I was over there, do you guys see that my Alta is got, like I said, I never remember to charge it. And my Aria, that's my scale, is about halfway charged.
I'm going to talk about each product and what I liked about them. So this is the one. It's the one that I started out with. My friend let me borrow hers for, it was about a year and a half. And the things that I really, really liked about it, I liked that you could clip it somewhere and it didn't have to be showing. So, back then, if I was going to dress up or go out, I had a gold watch, I had a silver watch, depending on what jewelry, depending on what I was wearing. This was still something I could wear, and it just didn't have to be part of what was visible on me. Another thing that I really liked about it is it had a flower that grew, and it started out just like with the stem and a leaf and a petal. And then as the day went on, the flower got bigger and filled out more. And as like if you had some time that you weren't really active, and it was useful for me because I had a job that was more of a desk job, my flower would start to die. Like I would get it so far and then it would start to die. So I'm like, oh, I gotta get up and keep my flower alive. And so that was a neat motivator for me. And then I um, I I liked that it has a silent alarm. With that, though, that became challenging because depending on where it was clipped, like if it was inside a pocket or something, especially because I wore scrubs, I sometimes didn't get the alarm notification. And I did like the silent alarms. I used those to remind me to take medicine when I was at work. I'd get wrapped up in stuff and forget to take my medicine. And so I didn't want to draw attention to it. So to have a little alarm like buzz quietly and remind me to do that was useful. I used it. The silent alarm for a lot of things, and it got to where I was missing it because of that. And then the other thing that when they came out with the Alta is connected to your smartphone. So if you get a text or a phone call from somebody, that will kind of come through and scroll across the little display here. So it's not the same functionality as an iWatch, but it does allow you to kind of see, do I want to pull it out of my pocket and do something about this, or is it like an unknown and I can just let it go? And that became very appealing to me, and I wanted to get that. And so the other thing with the one is sometimes it would be clipped on something and I would take that off and forget. And so I found then when I moved to the Alta, the positives of this were, it was on me all the time and it was water resistant. And so, I mean, I wore it, I wore it pretty much all the time unless I was like swimming. And so I didn't forget to have it on and lose credit for my steps. This had instead of the flower that grew on it, it had every hour if I wasn't getting activity in, it would like buzz on my wrist. It was very useful for the silent alarm because it was on my wrist and, I could just, tap it and I knew that it was time to do whatever it was alarming me to do. So that was good for my muddled brain to remind me to do things. And so this ended up just being the perfect thing. The one drawback to it was that I just sometimes you dress up and this isn't gonna look good with what you're wearing. And so they did come out with very blingy bands and things like that that I was able to get for it. And I just really did enjoy having it until I couldn't see it anymore. And it became not very useful for me. I kept this one because I actually thought that I would use it when I went out to paint or garden instead of, messing up my new one. And I never remember to change over to it or it's not charged. So that isn't really what happened with it. I gave all my fun bands to my daughter who is still using her Alta HR. Oh yeah, and then when the HR came out, it had the ability to tell me what my heart rate was too. And so then I moved on to the Versa. And so the Versa has a bigger screen on it. It's got a nice display, and you can actually change this display. It doesn't have to be like this. I really like the Bitmojis, and so it will have a little Bitmoji come on that at lunchtime she's eating a salad, in the morning she's waking up and yawning in her jammies. So you can also change how quickly it shuts off. I have mine set that, let's see if it shuts off for a second. Let me see if I can demonstrate this to you. Now it won't shut off. Mine, I have it. It's supposed to wake up when I bring my arm up, and so all I need to do is turn my arm toward my face, and my watch face comes on, and so I can see what time it is. I can scroll through it, and up here in the corner, I can scroll quickly and see, but because I can't see, I really can't read it. So I usually have to scroll to this screen, and so that's my steps for today so far. That's how much sleep I got. I think I skipped over my heart rate. Well, maybe not. Heart rate's next. Oh, that's my days of weekly exercise. There's my steps this hour. Where's my heart rate? Oh, I don't have my heart rate set up because it's not on my wrist. That's a blonde moment. So anyway, it's got this little this back here is what needs to be against my skin to be reading my heart rate, and then from this screen you can go in and get some details, and um, from this screen, it does some other things. There's music, exercise, alarms, the clock. I actually use the timer, for my planks. So when I start a plank, I hit the little arrow, and I've been doing minute 20 planks. And so anyway, this has been useful for me because I can see it. Now, with the Versa, I've got my little box here, and I just kind of can pull a handful out. I was able to also get a whole bunch of different bands, and this is just a handful of some that were in here. And the other fun thing that I was able to do is these are little covers that kind of go over it, and they frame it out. And so I've got, some multicolor ones. I've got like an animal print one. I have an owl one. And so that was a fun thing to get too. I use one of those screen covers that you can get for your phone for it to kind of keep it from scratching up. And they also have these available, and I brought these out to show you. If you're going to do something that could cause it some damage, they actually have these things that encase it completely. And so this would go, so that's actually what I've been doing when I have been going out and painting or doing something. I'm afraid that I don't want it to get ruined. And so I just cover it up with, I have one that's just for doing junky stuff. And so I found that they've got a lot of nice little accessories to go with it, and I've found I even have I think I have it's not super blingy, but I have a silver one, and then I have a one that's like gold and silver, and so I've gotten a couple fun bracelets for it too, and so that's been nice for other occasions. And so the other thing that I want to talk about is my scale. So part of the Fitbit family is the Fitbit Aria. And so this scale is connected to my app. And so when I weigh on it, if you watched any of my weigh-ins, it keeps track of the people that are in it. And it also will take a look at my weight, and it usually tries to guess who it is based on what your last weight was. And so my daughter and I were close at one point, so sometimes it's guessing that it's her and not me. So I have to, I just touch it and it changes it to me. It also does a calculation for your body fat percentage. I'm not sure how accurate that is, but what I have noticed is as I get more fit and as I lose weight, it goes down. So that's just another motivator. And then this is, connected Wi-Fi, and it will, whatever information is on this will upload through, cyberspace out there, and it goes right, it's connected right to my whole system and the app, and it's all integrated. And so that has really kind of, for somebody who's not very tech savvy, it has made everything's kind of just all one thing. It's all Fitbit, and it all works together for me. And so I thought I'd just share with you why I like that, why it works for me, and hopefully that's helpful.